I do know that lawyers were divided over whether or not social media activist VDM ought to have been invited as well. What did you make of that?
In those days, the NBA brought individuals who had paid their dues, who were coming to engage lawyers intellectually. We wanted to learn from them, and so the NBA was not our conferences were not. None of our conference was a circle show in the past. So if you are bringing in an expert to discuss the security of the country, either from the private or public sector, such an individual must have contributed to the security architecture of the country. But when you bring people who have nothing to do with the security of the country, there are problems. It's like talking about media freedom, press freedom. You are going to bring practitioners in that field, either in the academics or in the newsroom. But to just go and bring somebody from nowhere to come and entertain you, there are problems with that. And I think that was the problems associated with that particular lecturer, individual.
Well, I'm sure that I do not know whether you've seen the response of some of your colleagues, some of them very senior as well. I'm going to be citing the response of Professor Chidi Odinkalu to that particular one. He says it's customer feedback, that the law and the courts are for everyone, and the lawyers who are, like say, advocates in the temple of justice. Now, I'm trying to look for the particular word that lawyers use. Should not shy away from listening to feedback from people who have cause to always, interact with the law, and that's how he sees it. Do you share his perspective?
With profound respect to my very good friend Chidi Odinka, he was talking in a general sense, but we're talking of this particular case. If we are talking of justice delivery in the country, we now want to hear from members of the public. That will be okay. But if you are talking about the security of the country, it does require that you bring people who are involved in maintaining the security of the country, or who are victims of abduction and the rest of them. So as lawyers, we must link up with members of the public. We must hear from them, but not in specific areas which require some kind of expertise, so that lawyers can learn and be positioned to take care of their own security, as well as the security of members of their family. For instance, we're talking about state police now. And you will expect anybody who's going to speak in that area to tell us when we had regional police in the country, why did we embark on centralizing the police force? Why are we now going back to what we had in the First Republic? I think this is the kind of problem that was associated with some of the speakers that have been brought to address us. In those days, the submissions of some of our lecturers, like the late Dr. Akeola Aguda, when he addressed us in 1985, or the late Justice Oputa, when he addressed our conference in 1987, for several days and weeks, their submissions became matters of public discourse. Editorial comments were written on them. Lawyers debated them even after the conference, and we learned from them. And I think lawyers are saying we should go back to that era. Take my own case, for instance. There are African leaders who believe in the rule of law, who promote the rule of law in their country, who obey court orders. Who obey court orders in their country. So if you are going to have a former head of state to address lawyers to talk about democracy or rule of law, then you must bring some who can say, when I was in power, there was not a single court order that I disobeyed. I didn't lock up people illegally. I didn't harass the media, and so on and so forth. And there are a couple of them in the continent, if you want to be educated. Thank you.